The faith, we can't before we get started on that. Wisdom and love to all. We online, meaning love can be expressed. Let's begin to get a little screen sharing as our divine meeting. Yes, in the name of our divine creator, Al-Sufian. Oh yes. We're gonna start today. What is Allah? We're gonna start off what is. We have heard of the term. Is it more than a term? We're gonna find out. These some things hidden in the vault they didn't want us to know. So before we get to what they didn't want us to know, we need to know why they didn't want us to know. Why they didn't want us to know? Because they had gave us already a fictional characters with names, and they needed us to believe in that. So if we hear these other names, we would have no association, no way to understand what came first. So when we was given a mapping system. We didn't know this. This is what we didn't know. We was given a mapping system. And this mapping system was based on fictional characters. And these fictional characters had names. They gave these fictional characters names. You know, just like today, you will know, as we opened up earlier, right before, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
How Santa Claus is a fictional character.
Yeah.
So we can add that up to all your days, to Spider-Man, to even Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, Superman. Yeah.
So they updated all these systems with the Disneyland mindset.
Yeah.
That gave us a whole mapping system of things that does not exist. This is the key to all deception, is that they put you in a direction that does not exist. To us, everything been real, from our mind to our body. But to them, they needed us to disassociate with our mind and body. Take that concept out of yourself and place these concepts into yourself. So they wanted to inseminate our minds with these fictional characters.
Yeah.
To begin to believe in them characters, and we begin to use the names of these characters. And if the names of these characters are behind a false character, then the names of these characters are false as well.
That's right.
So a lot of these things doesn't just underscore to a low elementary level, as we said, when Mary Had a Little Lamb and Santa Claus. There are also higher levels of it. So these to be included with Jesus and Muhammad. These are minced oaths. If we understand what minced oaths are, these are contractions of words put together to mean something else, but taking an oath to this euphemistic word. So instead of giving you in plain, clear sight, they are said in a minced oath form. So this is what we have with understanding these fictional characters. So what we want to understand is how all of that is nonsense, and that this is the illness that we do not want to go into the grave with, believing in all that make believe.
Yeah.
We need to get the broom out, clean that up, sweep that up,
Yeah.
and put that in the trash, and understand reality. Now we can start working with real actuality, because we've been given a false belief of things working for us, and those false beliefs would never work for us because they don't exist.
There you go.
What exists is us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't carry concepts of reality in our mind, then we are bound to fall to false beliefs. So the only reality is us united.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have to unite, we have to unite under a understanding. So we need to understand, what is this understanding? This is where we come to all law. We're going to get some understanding on all law. We're going to find out, we're going to ask a question. Who is all law? So we got the message itself to tell us. So we're going to type in, and we're going to have some occurrences, and we're going to read through the occurrences, so we have an in-depth understanding of an ancient truth. So we have to understand what all law is. So for understanding, we have all law is all knowledge. Now, what that has to say? Meaning this is something you can know.
That's right.
It's not something you just believe. This is something you know. This is all knowledge when we say all law. The next occurrence tells us all law is all languages, all words, all meaning. What that mean to y'all, our listeners?
Sound like the answer to me.
All languages. It's many languages now.
Yeah, it covers all.
This covering
All answers.
all answers. Is this making it easy or this making it difficult?
Oh.
Because do we need to go learn every language now?
now?
Because if we can go learn every language, but if we learn all law, we learn all languages.
Yep.
If we understand all law, we understand all words. Ooh, doesn't that make life simple, y'all?
That makes sense to me.
That means every word you see, don't matter if it's on paper, if it's on TV, it has to be defined according to all law. And you know, all law covers all. So if I say two, or if I say a few, does that cover all?
Not a few.
See, y'all already master scholars. See, this is how we understood everything. As the Bible opened up as a stolen legacy in the beginning, as we have in our opening legend, in the name of all law, the first, the beginning, the magnificent. So now understanding that all is why all is in all law. So we will never forget again. Now, what about all meaning? Because that's what defines everything. A judge or any person may say a word means something. So now when you hear someone say a word means something, and then they didn't bring that word back to the creator, we may have a false rule or false word. This is to help us in our daily actual life. Because you're going to hear people speak. There's one thing you're not going to get over in a human life, and that's hearing people speak.
Yeah.
So if we understand that people speak and people speak languages, and now people are speaking languages and words for meaning. They meaning something. Now we have a barometer or an engagement where we can gauge life based on reality. Because if not, then we have a default system since growing up, since young, from elementary to the Bible, of a whole character set. That if we don't understand self-knowledge, then we're not going to understand anything in the world. We're going to believe everything in the world. We're talking about all knowledge. Let's see what else can we learn. All law is all numbers. Not only words. Not only the language speaking. But we're talking numbers in concept and numbers in structure and building. Whether it be real numbers or spiritual numbers. The world of all law may be expressed in numbers. All law is all seasons. What do we experience as seasons? If we understand the astronomy science here as summer, winter, fall, and spring, this is what we call seasons. But here it says all law is all seasons.
All seasons.
So this means we definitely have to be in the Creator to be witnessing all of the Creator. And if we experiencing summer, spring, winter, and fall, this is a sign for us. And it says that all law is all signs. Don't matter if you talking zodiac, or any sign to a stop sign. This addresses a whole lot. All law is all cultures. All cultures. So it wouldn't matter what nationality. We talking about every nationality is known by its culture. The creator is all cultures. So all law is all peoples. What about that one? The creator is all peoples, y'all. This is why we have to keep in mind all law. Because these fictional characters take us away from all. And we get to individualizing everything.
Yeah.
And making it a single when the only single is all or one. And it says all law is all time in all places. There's a time there's not a time nor a place where the creator is not. And there's more, but we're gonna stop. We're gonna pump the brakes right there. We got something to work with in our minds. And we're gonna return to our, if you've been listening to our Buddha text, we in our Buddha segment. Mm-hmm. We're in our holy breath of instructions. So we visiting another prophet of all law. And we visiting what we say all words. We visiting all meanings. All cultures. So we're gonna begin there, and then we'll pick back up on some knowledge of law. We on instruction 11, right?
Yeah. Topic: wisdom. Escobar said 11.1 existence, non-existence, change. This is the nature of things. Non-existent, existent, non-existent. This is the nature of things. Relies in this. Stillness, serenity, and bliss naturally follow. 11.2 one who knows for certain that self creates all and is alone. Become still, desireless, unattached.
And there go a word reoccurring. All.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you think about a dead man, he becomes still. Ain't moving no more. Heart ain't beating no more. Mm. But that doesn't mean it's over. Says self creates all and is alone. And when you become aware, you become all. Awareness, consciousness. 11.3. One who knows for certain that adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny becomes content. He neither desires nor grieves.
Mm-hmm.
So ones who knows for certain, who all certain about what they do, who all certain about what they know, who all certain about what they have learned, and is it certain when you pump the brakes inside to just
That's a good question to our topic.
look over
Mm-hmm.
what you have learned in life?
Mm-hmm.
Is it certain? And is it working? Can you be certain when you say you know that somebody loves you? So it comes and goes. Love might come and go. They feeling might come and go. It might change. And it says he neither desire nor grieve.
That was a great emotional capture right there.
When you don't have a desire, just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Desire. Boy, it come by the truckload of it. So boy, we got a desire for so many things in life. And we become attached to it. Now you wonder what's wrong with you. Your character, your lifestyle. The 11.4, ones who knows for certain that birth and death, happiness and misery come and go in obedience to destiny. Sees nothing to accomplish. He engaged in non-action and in action remained unattached. We ask the question, what have you learned since birth and knocking on the door to death? Happiness and misery. I think we all gonna taste a little both of those. Happiness and misery. Which one you like the best? If you had a choice, would you want to be happy every minute of the hour or misery every minute of the hour? And guess what? When you don't learn and know the truth, that's what's going to be going on in your life, really. So many people misery. So many people don't have happiness. They can't find it. .5. One who has realized that only by caring is misery caused in the world becomes free, happy, serene, desireless. All his desires have vanished away. .6. I am not the body, nor is the body my possession. Or you think about the serpent saying with no draw leaf. That was stated in Serpent 7.
I got it pulled up right here.
When he was talking about spirit, man, would you read a little of that before I go in the front?
I surely will. Respectfully, I go straight to that point. But man himself, this is out of chapter 1, out of the Moorish Holy Quran.
And this chapter 1, is that peculiar?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Why 1? Just like in the beginning, you start from 0 and then go to 1. But for some reason, it's in 1.
The creation and fall of man. In the first paragraph, it says, but man himself is not the body. Man himself is not the soul. Man himself is a spirit and a part of all law.
Look at that. When he learns that, then he becomes that. See, we got to look past higher than just the body that to be born with, like a woman giving birth to a child. And we all can look back across our lives and see that we once upon a time was in that position. But as we grow and as we learn, then we learn that we're more than just a body. We learn that we more than just a soul and flesh. See, this thing is extremely deep in truth. The second part of that paragraph, it says, I am awareness itself. That was in earlier lesson. Talking about awareness. When you become aware, you become Allah. Ones who realize this for certain, now he said ones who realize this for certain, not perhaps, but know what he's talking about. Has no memory of things done or left undone. There is only the absolute. Mm. Once you have, and remember, the topic on this lesson is talking about wisdom. So once you become and grab hold of the wisdom of all this, then you'll realize you're not the body, you're more than that. You won't just look in the mirror and see your body and see the flesh and say, well, this is it. This is all I have. It's bigger than that. And this is what we must realize. I know it's kind of hard because people can't even look past after this life. They can't see nothing but just this life. And that's why they try to get into everything they big enough to get into before they leave this earth. They want to try to join all these associations, football club, basketball club, baseball club, join all the above. And waste all their life and time doing that. And you never did find out who they really are. And this is the problem. And we look back, all of us have been to school, graduated from high school to college. It says something about earlier about adversity and success. Most folks today, they say when they once they graduate, finish college and receive their bachelor degree and their master degree, they say that's top-notch success. And they don't look no further. This is what people have been trained to think, and this is what most of everybody think as I speak.
This was is under the fictional characters. All these are fictional characters.
Yep.
So those degrees are fictional characters.
Mm-hmm.
That education is a fictional character.
It is. That's why I want to point that out about the master and the bachelor and the master degree.
And remember, anything that's a fiction is false. Anything false is a fake.
Mm-hmm.
Anything fake is make believe.
Yeah.
Anything make believe don't have self knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how they use and receiving knowledge in the wrong way. Now, when you see a person attain his bachelor degree and his master degree, you would think first thing, man, he has some knowledge. He knows something. Because he has this degree, that means that he had to learn whatever it was, the rigmarole of that situation. In other words, because see, there's many topics. Like you want to be a biologist, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be all that there. Whatever characteristic that proceeds under, then you think that you have really made it and you on top of the world, and you have become successful in what you started out at. We really think that.
And that's a whole knowledge of the falsehood.
That's right.
That's the falsehood, because you got a knowledge, but it's not a knowledge of self.
That's right. And knowledge of truth, because see, that ain't got nothing to do with truth. That's got something to do with something else.
That's how you know if you gain knowledge.
Yeah.
Only knowledge is self-knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't self-knowledge, then it's just information.
There you go.
The creator name ain't information.
That's right.
It's knowledge.
Right.
The creator, as it said, the awareness itself.
Yeah.
So that's saying we are Allah's self.
Mm-hmm.
We have to dig that. But if we don't understand that, see, this is why we have these texts reminding us.
Yeah.
Because ancient truth will never change.
Mm-hmm.
But a modern day lie will keep changing.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need a remembrance of what we are, and that's this awareness.
Yeah.
And see, this is what was commonly known in ancient times, because it was how we taught and preached by falsehood of these times. The truth was taught in those times. So our people taught today, they heard nothing but truth in ancient times. So as you was reading about I am awareness alone, there's a connection to that.
Yeah.
In the Moorish Holy Quran.
That's circle 7.
Yep, that's circle 7. And in chapter 7, it said of wisdom, because we in the subject matter of wisdom.
Of wisdom, yeah.
Of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, 23, wisdom is the awareness that man is all, that Allah and man are one, that nothing is nothing, that no is no, that power is but illusion, that power is but illusion. This is key. That heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but awareness. Self-knowledge, which in the light of aught, awareness becomes the naught. Zero, nothing. And Allah is all. That supports that statement of I am not the body. I'm the one that can look down at my body.
When you was reading about heaven and hell, and it says it's neither one of them, but it's awareness. That go to show you, if you ain't aware, then somebody can take you on a hell ride and a heaven ride. Because now, they scare people to death. If they die, they live right, they're going to the lake of fire. Now, what you think on that person's mind? See? See, if you're aware, then you're bigger than the hell and the heaven. Then you're bigger than the lake of fire. See? And you won't get caught in that trap.
Yeah. These are the fictional characters.
Fictional character. That's correct.
And this is what we have to, They gave us a mapping system called hell and all this stuff that comes with the false reality to make it seem real.
Yeah.
But it's just a unconscious fictional system giving us a way to identify things, but it's identifying unconsciously.
Yeah.
Things that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Make believe.
Yeah. And all we got to do is ask ourselves today, everybody that been to school and got educated. Why we have the mess? That means that all that we have learned was the wrong way. It wasn't the right way. You remember the old saying, if you start out right, you end up right. We start out wrong, now we don't wind up. Look at the wrongful mess. And all we have is killing and stealing and lying. And not to mention adultery and fornication. That's on the top list. 2 more to go. 11.7. From Brahma to the last blade of grass. Boy, anybody ever seen grass? There's many blades of grass out there. There's so many, there's so plentiful, but it become one blade look like a field when you have many. I alone exist. Ones who know this for certain, becomes, when you know this, you become immaculate, serene, unconflicted, attainment has no meaning. See, and this is how you can use this as a measuring stick to the people who you don't even have to ask them, but they'll tell you, I got a big problem. Right now, they'll tell you. Or caught in a trap. The same problem keep arising. Can't even fix it, can't even solve it. I often hear people about they sick with this, they sick with that, they got this, they got that. I wonder how they got that. I become all that by their lifestyle, what you eating, what you doing, and not taking heed to the truth because you're eating stuff that you don't supposed to be eating, and this was what brings on sickness. It's that simple. Same apply to your truth. You don't have the right truth, because you got wrong truth and you got right truth. You don't have the right truth, you're going to be sick. And that's a fact. It said uncompletely. There's people walking around, can you imagine, they don't even eat food, not drink water. Now that's hard to believe, let alone talking about sick. Last verse, last surah. 11.8. Ones who knows for certain that this manifold and wonderful universe is nothing. Become desireless awareness and abide in the stillness of nothing. Of no thing, nothing, no thing, and nothing.
right there.
Abide in the circle. Abide in Allah.
So these was the codes of the circle 7.
Yep.
In the inside of the circle is the no thing.
The no thing. That's right.
And the 7 represents the 7 eyes of the great God Allah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
See, that was our ancient science, and that was our technology. Today's science and technology replace itself with machines and fictional software. This is how we get artificial.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you said that. So that's how AI come to be and come about.
Yes. AI exists because AI doesn't have self-knowledge. See, when we read the Sufian, this is self-knowledge we reading.
Yeah.
This ain't knowledge about him and her.
No. It ain't about Joshua going to Jericho and marching on.
Right.
You know, that's all these Bibles and books we telling you, but it's telling you about another character and nothing about self. And what he done. It's just like telling somebody a story about somebody else.
And that's what movies are, right?
And movies do the same
That's
thing.
what we mean. These are fictional
shows,
characters.
Yeah, and picture shows all do the same thing.
Remember, these are the 144 original wisdom. Or we call them characters.
Yeah.
See, now they call them characters too.
Yeah.
But now they play movies with them.
Yeah.
They give falsity.
Yeah.
When they say art imitates life, they imitating something older and more ancient.
Yeah.
And all they did was give it fictional names.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have mapped out the system now like water.
Yeah.
That's a fictional name.
Mm-hmm.
Anything in this reality called society is based on a fictional name. See, and these fictional names has fictional characters, like a bag or whatever name associated with it. This little fictional character come with it.
Yeah.
And then make it, and that appearance make it seem real.
Mm-hmm.
Since we lost our ancient science, and now they done made the fictional characters of God and the devil.
Yeah.
Now this has became a fictional character base, giving man and woman the plethora to blame others and not self.
Yeah.
Or to see self as the creator of all, instead of the blaming all.
That's right. Do you remember when you used to go through the fast food restaurant like Burger King, like, and then they give you a little carrot to believe in? See, they be working on your mind early, bird, man.
Early. And the character right.
Yeah.
See, they getting people to play out the fictional characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
The child already believing Santa Claus. He's innocent and believing already in fictional characters.
Yeah.
So else can start becoming fictional and becoming real too.
Well, would you
this
think?
Is how sensitive with gentleness.
Would you believe that as of right now that people are still teaching and celebrate Santa Claus at adult? Now this still going on. And it's a majority of the people throughout the world. I finished mine. That was the last one of mine.
12. Abiding in the self. Janata said, 12.1. Becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech, then of thought itself. I come to be here. 12.2. Neither sound nor other sense perceptions attract my attention. Even the self is unperceived. The mind is free, undistracted, one pointed, and here I am. 12.3. Effort is required to concentrate a distracted mind superimposed with illusion. Knowing this, I remain here. 12.4. Nothing to reject, nothing to accept, no joy, no sorrow. Lord God, I am here. 12.5. The four stages of life. Life without stages. Meditation, renunciation, objects of mind, nothing but distraction. I am forever here. 12.6. Doing and not doing, both arise from ignorance. I know this, and I am here. 12.7. Thinking of the unthinkable one, unavoidably conjures thought. I choose no thought and remain here. 12.8. Less is he who attains this by effort. Less is he who is such by nature.
Look at it. Now that's when you say I'm blessed. When you know been blessed.
That's the true, yes. That's
now,
the true attainment.
That cheap bullshit.
Yeah, other than that.
Cheap blessed.
Right. That's the true understanding. That's the true understanding of blessed.
That's the truth.
That was one of Buddha's names, the blessed one, and the peaceful one. That's the state of attainment, of knowledge. He's speaking of self-knowledge.
That's what we're talking about. That's that oneness of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
And 12.6 is doing and not doing. Both arise from ignorance. And just look at the people today. They doing a whole lot, but they ain't doing that. But you can't tell them that. The 4 stages of life. Life without stages. Meditation. Objects. Not distraction. And after all been said and done, he said, I am forever here. Which means nothing. Those stages, you know, in life, everybody wants to be on the stage. To be a goat, that's on the stage. Everybody want to be a goat. Big dog. The hound dog. I tell you, all of them need to sell somewhere and get it right. All that's going to perish.
And that's why we want to get into knowledge.
Yeah.
See, because what we need to understand is they have given us a whole fictional
Mhm.
falsehood
Yeah.
and wanted us to understand this and then call this knowledge
Mhm.
when it's information.
There you go. There you go.
When it comes to them, we never receive self-knowledge.
No.
We always receive information,
Information.
though. They'll give you
They
information,
got
though.
air report to tell you information and where to go to get your information or inform them.
Hey, only your creator can
That's
give you
all
self-knowledge.
down here is information.
And that's right. If we think on self-knowledge, see, only the people can give you information.
And when you stop and think about it, other than anybody other than your ancestors, that's all they have for you is information. Because it ain't the same.
They're not the self. And self means the same. Hey, if we go back in time, let's bring that in.
Some information they call curriculum. You know, it's circulation. It's something you learn constantly. And that's what, when you look at it, that's what the school got. Information. Let's put it that way.
That's how falsehood. That's how falsehood comes.
Let's put it out there.
That's how falsehood comes. Through information. See, now that we understand, yes, it's easily understood once I pull up certain biblical scriptures that was once confusing. Now they won't be, you won't feel such confliction.
Yeah.
Now the self-knowledge of these texts, especially these false texts. Important. Because this is how we define knowledge according to the canon. So when we are referring to in mind as a canon, as a rule of truth or a law of truth, not only is we need to understand self, we need to understand self-knowledge, these two words. So knowledge is conscious knowledge of the law. Knowledge is conscious knowledge of the law. This is why we call it the word. We became conscious of the law through the word of the divine creator. So when we become in this saying we have our conscious and knowledge of the law, so we saying we have self-knowledge. You understand our self-law. Not conscious knowledge of the law, its true definition, not its false characters.
True
definition means character. It's true character. See, and this is where they started, gave us the bull crap and stuff.
Yeah.
Called truth.
Yeah.
Gave us the falsehood.
Yeah.
And they kept the good stuff called.
Now, I kept but think about the plantation when they was having slaves. See, this is where we became bring that get the lower part of the hog, like the gut, the pig feet, the chillin, and all that, the hog ears and all that. But he get the ribs and the slave. He was eating high on the hog.
And the same way as they got it in that way in the South, is that way in the high level when you got the North and the South.
Yeah.
The South is considered slow.
Yeah.
The North is considered. So the South don't have a lot of the things they have. See, and this is all we have to understand is part of the fictional characterization.
Yeah.
Someone created the North and the South.
In the South, that's right.
In something.
Yeah.
True in character, but giving us false definition. False reality on high and a false low. While they taking the good stuff called truth.
Yeah.
So that little one got a ring with it, the good stuff. You know how in the South we say. But let's finish this knowledge. Is conscious knowledge of the law, lawful truth. Its application is true processes, is true history, is true purpose, and true functions without confusion with false information. Without confusion with false fictional characters through fictional names, which acts as a mapping system. And now we call things. When we wish for these things to understood, the truth. See, the truth is different than the reality. Let me see if I got that quickly on. Truth is different than this reality. Now, in his work, he created a mimic of the truth called reality. And this is what we have to know and understand. He call it society. This is his mimic of reality. His mimic of truth. Now, this is a canonical, meaning coming from the canon. When we talking ancient wisdom, when we talking wise knowledge, when we say, or the fictional character canon, or the Canaanites, we refer back to people who wrote canons. So, from the understanding of the canon, which was understood as the Torah law, this is where true definitions and true instructions are, and especially format of English. So we go to the canon and define reality. Canon 1459. Reality is a fictional model.
Did you hear about reality?
Reality is a fictional model. Think about it. Is McDonald's real? But can you go there and purchase something from McDonald's? So this make it seem like it's real.
It's real. A name and a place.
This is what's called gotcha. This is what they've been using called doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a mapping system to get you to come into artificial living, disconnect from truth. This is why in the Moorish Holy Quran, in chapter 7, Jesus said, first, Jesus was asked a question: what is truth? Because remember, Jesus said that truth will make you free.
Yeah.
So he was asked, what is truth? Jesus said, truth is the only thing that changes not. Don't you anything that comes again, say you pay it once and you gotta pay it again. That's called non-truth.
Taxes again.
Because it changed. If I was to tell you that if yourself was created once, that yourself can't be uncreated. Because what the Creator created once cannot be undone. So we talking about self. The lost nafisa. This is what has been missing from all the narratives that's been of false narrative. See, we needed the boys from the South because them boys from the South slow enough to not move too fast. Not read it too fast. The boys from the South, man, they got to see what this saying, what this saying. We can't go past this word. We got to go to a dictionary or some form. Or we got to reference it back to our own little Southern experience. Because this is where it's all natural at. Now, to go along with this truth that Jesus said, that truth changes not, is the only thing. So thing means real. See, so it's only one thing that's real. And that's why we was really reading about civilization. Self is the only thing real in this existence.
Yeah, sure.
But if you don't have self-knowledge, then we don't know that self is real. We think self is a fictional character because of these characters given to us. And now we have taken their identity as our own identity. Tricknology 111.
Yeah.
This is why. Now, this is what Jesus has to say about truth. In all the world, there are two things. The one is truth. Did we catch that? Because it's very simple. The one is truth. See, this is how we said Allah. The one is truth. And keep in mind, the other is falsehood. Hood. When we say hood, let's take it into the southern neighborhood. When we say a neighborhood, do we see just one home and call it a neighborhood? So when we say falsehood, it ain't just one lie. It's a collective. See, and this is what we have to understand clearly. Just as the Son is one, the truth is the one. Allah. As we say in the South, Allah, then we say is. Catch our southern slang now. And falsehood means to be. This southern slang, this is what seems to be. See, if you're not from the South, you might not catch that southern slang. Falsehood is that which seems to be. Now, we got is, got to be. See, Southern slang or ebonics, we catch on to stuff like that because we talk like that. If we want something in the future, we say to be. If we talking about the present, we say it is. We don't say it be what. We use a ancient tongue of knowledge in our speech. And this comes from an ancient truth that we was inherited, that became an inherited. Yeah, that was another. Now we have to understand what makes the truth the one and the collective the falsehood. See, this is what is called the spirits. See, the spirits are the collective. They are the falsehood that which gave life to matter, made life or made matter seem to be alive.
Yeah.
And then when the spirit gone, it's no longer.
It's no longer. Look at the dead man.
So when we talking about, when it say man is not a body, man is not the soul, talking about the breath, we talking about when man, he, or in woman, she is a spirit. We talking that which is prior to the breath.
Yeah.
The one that gave the breath life. See, the breath is attached to a living organism, not attached to the body. But you know the organism exists because of the breath. But that which you see called breathing, that's called being. So our Southern people catch all this.
Yeah.
So all words that start with the letter as the letter B itself. This is Southern abundance. So when we begin to take on another system, we are adopting their systematic ideals of how they view the world from their perspective.
Yes, indeed.
But see, in the South, we kept our see, so this was the key that they didn't want us to unlock. They didn't want us to find this key. That everything they gave us was a fictional characterization of something that does not exist. So they needed us to keep in non-existence for the self to no longer exist. Now, this is very deep. This is how you kill a self. They've been practicing a demonic science called self.
Yeah.
And the closest they get is to make self believe in something that doesn't exist. And if self believe in something that's close to not existing, then self maybe won't believe in self, that it'll believe in something outside of self. That's what they need for not self to return.
Yeah.
So if self believes in a fictional character that doesn't exist, won't exist. Do we get it? Because self is the one believing. If self is real, And self believing something that is unreal, this is what we call unconsciousness.
Yeah.
And self never been unconscious in his whole entire world. Even a baby ain't unconscious. They the falsehood are the things that's appearing real, called the manifest. One more knowledge of law, because we got to the reality is a fictional model constructed upon fictional forms and fictional meanings, enabling the believer a degree of certainty. Like we're gonna get you some McDonald's today.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
how that can become like it's real.
Yeah. You know it's real because you can think of McDonald's and you can talk about going there to get it.
There you go.
And you know they're gonna be over 60 times. So
There you go.
Looking forward to get what.
There you go. And you need fiction for fiction.
Yeah.
So you got the fictional money.
Yeah.
Now you can go to the monopoly destination on the society.
Yeah.
And now it is real. So now you call that reality.
Yeah.
And now they have gotten black people in this war.
Yeah. In this reality, that's right.
And that's called. You think what society has is real. And that's an illusion over the creator's creation. They have a fake environment over the creator's real nature, the world.
Yeah.
So that's why we gotta take key. See, and the thing about how we understand reality is this. If we're in a false reality, it depends. It has a dependency. This is the key to all fiction, all lies. It on. That's the Southern style. That's why the devil is a lie.
Yeah.
See, we didn't say he was a person. The devil got to catch up. See,
Yeah.
when we was faster than they were moving in the north on their trains and cars, we might have still been in the backyards, in the backwoods, but we still had that brain, and we never left reality. The dirt, we never traded the dirt for the concrete, and never called the concrete as it came as the dirt came. That's why we say we get it out in the mud in the South.
Yep.
To keep us known to nature, naturally divine. Now let's get on a little insight, a little divine insight on dependency. Because this is the fundamental requirement of society. This is why they need black people to depend on them, called welfare. Now check this out, man. This is what keeps their society, aka reality, alive. Dependency is a fundamental requirement of existence. What does dependency mean? Whereby the existence and sustainment of one object or person is dependent on the existence of others. Black people. This is how black people hold up every entire every nation feed off black people's ignorance.
Yeah.
So now when we are talking about dependency, now all nations have become black dependent, or aka self-dependent. We are the cells that's keeping everything alive.
Yeah.
We are the only ones that got a self. Everybody else is functioning off a
And you know, they took something that's real and made it become fictional, like us ourselves. So now we are supporters of everything they do, no matter where they may be at on the planet. We around somewhere doing their work.
That's why we got to understand that the largest, we got to stand, because we've been small so long that now we got to, with intellect, with intuition, we got to now take a step back, zoom out, and see at the largest threshold,
Yeah.
what is it all, so we can see it all. And that's what we call the knowledge of self. This is why we say you have two selves, higher self and you have the lower self. The higher self is Allah, Illah, the great God in man. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So when we are self-ignorant as black people, this is what we get lost in. The lower self. And this is how all nations depend on us to be in our lower self for them to live, to survive, to exist. We don't have to survive. We alone. Talents, gifts, everything. See, this is what they didn't want us to know. Material depends on spirit. So now when we back that up, lower self depends on higher self, not vice versa. So now when we zoom that out, when you hit a word universe, that's the lower self. The creation has a creator. Creation's creator, just like lower self's creator, is the higher self. So the universe is not higher self. Everything that we are in is called the lower self. So when we understand the universe at large is a stage or a drama, this is what we call the lower self acting out. And this is what we call the why. When we come into the understanding of this one wisdom, then like our creator, we are the wise. The wise is in us, but we're not aware of us because we're not aware of self. The essence of anything would not exist if self didn't exist. If you don't exist right now, everything you thought exists goes along with it. This is the show when it said we shall be destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because it's only one knowledge, and that's self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the only knowledge that leads to knowledge of self. They go together, right? So when we're talking about going back to the canons and getting on the knowledge of law, this is why you got to be very careful at these times. Because people don't want you to know this. We got 30 minutes. Knowledge of law is saying knowledge of self, our self law. Knowledge of law presented by the guilds. That's any secret society. Presented by legally, that's the legal called guilds. They made real by legal words. Guilds known as the bar associations.
Look at it. There you go.
Now, I'm going to say it in the whole again. Knowledge of the law presented by the guilds known as the bar associations or secret societies is not knowledge.
Look at it.
Is not knowledge, but ignorance of the law. Ignorance of the self. They turn all these holy teachings that we use and turn them into ignorance. And now we playing the falsehood out instead of the truth. They put this knowledge at, this ignorance at, this ignorance of self or ignorance of the law in dictionaries, cases, and precepts are founded on deliberate fraud. Deliberate fraud. Deliberate fraud. Deliberate distortion. Deliberate concealment. Now, this is what no member of a secret society will ever tell you. And here come the greatest one that they would hope you would never hear, as they would never tell you. Canon 27, a prosecutor, a counsel, anybody in a judgment seat called a judge or a magistrate that is only knowledgeable in the law presented by the bar association. Remember that represents all secret societies. Any knowledge in the law presented by the allies has whatsoever, has knowledge of law whatsoever. Other words, it's all a sham, y'all. It's all a scam. These are scammers scamming us, impostoring, imposing, but merely of distortions designed to if we understood that message, that means we've been scammed and it's time to stop all scammers. Now we're going to return to the Buddha text. Instruction 13. Happiness. Janaka said, the tranquil state of knowing self alone is rare. Knowing self is rare. This teaching is not taught in modern day society. In modern day society, there is self-ignorance for society. So in order for us to detangle ourselves, we falsehood and we learn self-knowledge. Knowing self is rare. even among those who own but a loincloth. That's the indigenous people. That was us. That's how we was able to get knocked in our head because we did not know self. So this is why we understand the greatest science, Allah's Hakimah. And the greatest technology was our higher self. We didn't need no other technology in the world. Through these two, everything that took to came into existence. And if everyone knows, for matter to exist, you need two. All you need is self. Self is the one. The one doesn't need another to become itself. Alone is pure. Because as we take the word compress and rarefaction, that means to make it pure, to rarefy. So we want to understand how to self reify. This is a reification to self knowledge, understanding that self is purity. And this is what it means by awareness. That self is pureness. And so this is what they needed us to lose, was our purity of knowing self, the one. Now we have the next sentence says, I means self. So we have to understand proper text when we using language. I therefore neither renounce nor accept and am happy. You see how it's taught just like Southern people talk. See, they was slow. They thought the Southern was slow. And now this is going to be the rising of the South is going to save everybody from their confusion. Because the little old boys and the girls from the South, who y'all call it slow, and now the turkey with the hair. Now the Southern mind done caught up with the Northern mind. Like in rap, when the South, it ain't never gonna be the same again. So as we get this knowledge of self, the South is gonna rise and the world will never be the same again. The next instruction is 13.2. Surah 1 says the body is strained, stressed by practices. See, that's why they had us in them fields. They were straining our body, weighing it out. Because they knew something that we didn't know. But we would come to know as the hair would come to find out about the tortoise. The tongue tires of scripture. Oh, yes, we have preached a mighty long time. our tongue have been wrapped with scripture. The mind numbs with meditation. Not have. We know what it feels like to not have. When we talking something, detached from all this, I live as I am. See, this is where the South is going to take over. Because the South always had this state, but didn't never have this state as a state of mind. It was just a state of life,
Yep.
living without. But we didn't know that was the state of purity. And we didn't understand that that was the knowledge of the already. So as our belief that we always believed in from the very beginning becomes a self-knowledge to all of us. We are so happily and graceful and receive this with much gratitude. Our next instruction, 13.3, realizing that nothing is done. Realizing that nothing is done. This is how we used to be. This is why we used to say, God is good. Realizing that nothing is done. I do what comes and am happy. In the South, me am happy. We thought that was a slow person talking. We thought that was retarded type of talk. Now you see the ancient Buddha speaking with such easiness. The next 13.4, yogis who preach either effort or non-effort are still attached to the body. Those who preach effort or preach non-effort are still attached to the body. Self neither dissociate nor associate with any of that. In the South, we would say any of that SHIT. This is how we always kept it real. This is why we say in the South, we keep it real. We don't want any of that. And am happy. Next one, I have nothing to gain nor lose. By standing, by walking, or by sitting down. I have nothing to gain or lose. So whether I stand, walk, or sit, I am happy. This is what we used to say in the South, God is good. And all the time. They turned that to a prayer that we now pray for God. When we already had the understanding of life existing was a gift. And self-existing shows that self always exists. 13.6, my next one. I do not lose by sleeping, nor do I attain by effort. Not thinking. We all think. Just the ancient way of the thinking, not thinking in terms of loss or gain. I am happy. A thought with fictional characters as Luke. It was in terms of happiness. Did it make you happy? Next instruction, 13.7. Pleasure and pain, no, pleasure and pain fluctuate and are inconsistent, without good or without bad. Live happy. That's some old Southern cliches. See, this is the knowledge of self or the knowledge of law they didn't want us to understand, called divine law. If we knew the first, as it opens up in the name of all law, if we knew the first, we wouldn't have to worry about any second. When we lost the first, that's when they created time to start at second.
Yeah.
And ever since we've been counting, we've been losing. It never started on the first. It started on the seconds. So we have to understand the first. Then we can understand anything that come after the first. So you could say the first God. I'm gonna let you see it. Yes, the first God. Let you see it for yourself. At Genesis 1 and 1, the first one. At the first, God made the heaven and the earth. The first God. We're talking about the first. At the first is where everything occurred. Once we understand at the first, now we got, because at the first, Illa Fatiha. And this is where you got the first, the beginning, the magnificent. They didn't want us to have our simple technology. It was so simple that they liars had to make it. It was simple as at the first. This is where we can trace everything back to at the first. So now we can continue on our instruction on instruction 14. We got 12 minutes remaining. Let's hang it.
Tranquility. The knocker said, 14.1, though appearance asleep like other men, one whose interest in the world is exhausted, who has been empty, who thinks only by inadvertency, is in away. 14.2, when desire has milk, friends of the seduction of sins, what use is scripture and knowledge.
If you're going to sin, what's the use of it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You didn't even need the scripture to begin with.
Didn't he?
See how at the first solves everything.
Mm-hmm. 14.3, I have realized that the supreme self, the witness, the one. I am indifferent to bondage. 14.4.
So now, when the question of salvation, did our ancient prophet need salvation? These are questions
Yep.
that the thinking mind got to ask itself, because in these times,
Already had it.
you need something to save you from your sins.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It's in the millions of people who believe this, in the billions of people who believe this.
14.4. The inner conditions of one who is devout of doubt, yet moves among creatures of illusion, can only be known by those like him.
No other way. No other way. Such a beauty.
15. Knowledge of the self. Taught said. 15.1. A man of open intuition may realize the self upon hearing a casual description, while a man of clever inquires bewildered 15.2. Aversion to the world's offerings is liberation. Attraction to the world's offerings is a separate bondage. This is the truth. Now do as you please. 15.3. This knowledge, eloquent, wise, and active man, you, lovers of the world, therefore shun. 15.4. You are not the body. You do not have a body. You neither do nor enjoy. You are awareness only, the timeless witness. You are free. Go in happiness. 15.5. Attachment and aversion are attributes of the mind. You are not the mind. You are consciousness itself, changeless, undivided, free. Go in happiness. 15.6. Realize self in all in self. Be free of personal identity in the sense of mind. Be happy. 15.7. You are that in which the universe appears, like waves appearing in the ocean. You are consciousness itself. You no need. 15.8. Have faith, my son. Have faith. You are awareness alone. The self, the one. You are the Lord of nature. 15.9. The body is worldly stuff. It comes, it lingers, it goes. The self neither comes nor goes. It remains. Why more the body? 15.10. If the body lasts until the end of time, or perishes today, is there gain or loss? You who are awake. 15.11. The waves of the universe rise and fall as they will. You have nothing to gain or lose. You are the ocean. 15.12. You are the substance of consciousness. The world is you. Who is that? Think. He can accept or reject it. And where does he stand? 15.13. In you, who are one, immaculate, still awareness. From where can birth, action, or a separate person arise? Whatever you perceive is you and you. How can bracelets, harness, and anchors? 15.15. Provide such distinctions as I am he, myself, and I am not this. Consider everything so. Be desirous, be happy. 15.6. Your ignorance alone creates illusion. In reality, one alone exists. There is no person or God other than you. 15.7. One who knows for certain that the universe is illusion, a no being, becomes desireless. Pure awareness becomes peace with existence of nothing. 15.18. In the ocean of existence, only one is, was, and ever will be. You are neither bound nor free. Live content and be happy. 15.19. Do not stir the mind with yes or no. You are pure consciousness. Be still and abide in the bliss of self. 15.20. Give up completely all contemplation. Hold nothing in the mind or heart. You are the self, forever free. But what you
The shoreless
That's deep.
ocean.
That's deep. Is the self worth known? Is the self worth known?
Oh, yes, it is.
or is other than self-worth knowing?
It is.
As it says, in that truth, go and be happy. Peace and love.
Lord,
As-salam, Al-Sufian.